Let's bring in General Keith Kellogg, former National Security Advisor to Vice President Mike Pence and a Fox News contributor. And that is a big part of the story, too, right, General? That there's not a mass exodus of Ukrainians happening. There's not the hoarding of food that is happening right now. In fact, it's quite the opposite, with the Ukrainian president demanding more evidence as to why the United States sees this as such an escalating situation.
Yeah, Sandra, thanks for having me. Look, I'm beginning to think it's blissful ignorance. I mean, the forces they've got right on the border, the Russians, when you look at the numbers they've got, which is well over 130,000, and these are their top-line units. This is the first-rate equipment. They've got the Iskander missiles, the S-35 fighters you've got out there, and the BTGs they've got, the units, the battalion tactical groups, they're the best they've got out there. So they are arrayed. They're not arrayed for a training exercise. They're arrayed for an invasion. So they can think what they want, but it all depends on Vladimir Putin. And I think there's two things going on. Either he is giving us the biggest head fake we've ever seen in decades, or he's going to let the diplomatic process play out during the course of this week. At the end of the Olympics, if he does not have some type of diplomatic response on having NATO on having the Ukraine not join NATO, then he's going to come south into Ukraine.
General, I want to ask you where you stand on the idea of, and if there is still time for, sanctions. I had the chance to ask Admiral Kirby about this over the weekend on Fox News Sunday. He said this when I pressed him. Listen.
Went back to what Jake said on Friday. He's absolutely right. We believe that a major military action could happen any day now. If it's a deterrent and you use it before the aggression is made or the transgression is made, then you lose your deterrent effect. If you punish somebody for something that they haven't done yet, then they might as well just go ahead and do it.
So if you use it before the aggression is made, you lose the deterrent effect. Do you agree with that?
Sandra, I don't think that sanctions are going to work at all. I think it's a fool's dream. It has not worked in the past when we went after them after Ukraine was hit during the Crimea, when they took Crimea from Ukraine. And before, that's never worked at all with Russia. They've actually given themselves some barriers to not being affected by it, especially linking up with China. If you really want to hurt the Russians, what you do is you decouple the energy dependence of Europe on Russia. Otherwise, they're just going to blow right through it. I have not seen sanctions work very well at all. And I was in the White House for 4 years. We sanctioned Iran. We sanctioned North Korea. We've sanctioned Russia. They just blow right through it. Sanctions don't really work.
Really interesting take on that. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal editorial board, General, writes this morning on the New World Order, urging President Biden to unite the country in response to growing global threats, saying what Mr. Biden has not done is explain to Americans the new global dangers and what must be done to protect U.S. interests. The problem goes far beyond Ukraine. China wants to capture Taiwan and dominate the Western Pacific. The new Russia-China condominium means they'll work together against U.S. interests. Iran is close to getting a nuclear weapon, and jihadists are far from vanquished. That is a significant statement in this moment, General. Your reflections on it?
Yeah, I think that is exactly right, and primarily because you're looking at a very weak president, but historically he's been very weak. I go back to what he did before, even when he was vice president, not wanting to go after Osama bin Laden during the raid to kill him. I look back what former Secretary of Defense Gates said about him, that he's been wrong on nearly every national security decision was made in the United States. And even President Obama said you shouldn't underestimate the ability of Joe to screw something up. Look, it's just the way he operates. He's not a very strong president when it comes to national security. He talks a good game, but he doesn't play a good game. And all three of these countries, Russia, China, and Iran, respond to strength. And if you don't show strength, they're going to continue to push. I saw that with President Trump. When we killed Soleimani, it put the Iranians right back on their heels. We did the same thing with the North Koreans, and we did the same thing with the Russians on numerous occasions where we really hit them pretty hard, primarily in Syria, when we killed hundreds of Wagner Group mercenaries, Russian mercenaries, to prove a point to Putin and to Moscow. If you hurt Americans, we're coming after you. I don't think this president has frankly, the courage to make hard and strong decisions when it comes to life and death and war and peace.
General Kellogg, appreciate you joining us. Thank you.